in the RMR. They are in the 1 and 2 position. So whoever comes up big in this event is going to be that one team from South America that will make it through the RMR into the contenders for the PGL Major. So again, a lot weighs on the result of this series.
And we are live in our second map. MIBR will be starting on the T side, of course, with the Sharks having choice. They've picked for CTs, and they have taken early damage, but JNT returns, rebukes that push, and puts them on the back foot. They've actually not fully exploded onto the site just yet, with only a flashbang remaining. Smoke actually did that miss? Was that headed towards Connector and Jungle? It went in between the two. That could be a huge reason. You can see there's a massive gap in that smoke. Oh, that's so brutal.
Yeah, it is very brutal when it's like that one piece that you were kind of relying upon to block off a key angle. Only halfway does too, so really nothing at all. And now they are forced to kind of step backwards and perhaps redirect. They're trying to go back to B, but you can see that the Sharks had the read on this. They've rotated 3 players of their own to defend this B-bomb site. As I say that, though, Made in Brazil decide maybe middle is the answer. Not a bad call. They have left bolts behind in Palace, so it makes me really feel like either he's going to be a late lurk threat or they're still going to try to pinch this A-side through Connector. Pank is in position, does have some support from Zevi, watching for a window boost. And I mean, as soon as he turns away is when the boost is gone for. That is so unlucky. But may still be able to watch to make sure that they don't get into CT spawn through the murder hole.
Does feel like Pank needs to post up at least 1 kill from this position. Just go even. There it is. Bomb dropped down. Now that rotation can come in from the rest of his teammates. 23 seconds left. And the Julies, a weapon you're definitely going to see coming up more and more. As it's up to $300, is also going to drop the bomb down. Bolts and Shiz do what they may. There's a flashbang. He actually peeked before the flash detonated, which has cost him dearly. And now Realzin needs to come in, and with 9 seconds to go, MIBR actually win the round, even with a scuffed smoke, even with losing the first player.
And even with Paint getting the multi-frag from jungle position, and with the time dwindling down so low, you feel they could just stay alive in that 2 versus 2 and put the pressure on Rain Brazil to plant. I'm kind of surprised the CT and window challenge there. He could have just backed off, went back through murder hole into CT spawn, let Main Brazil plant or get the bomb back in possession, but with little time left, and could have disrupted them a little bit later on through CT spawn on the site. So I think there was a couple of mishaps there from Sharks where they would have thought things through a bit. They could have really beat Main Brazil off the clock. Very fortunate round for Made in Brazil.
That is also MIBR's first successful pistol in this best of 3. They lost the first 2 on Nuke. And Sharks only won 16-14, even with both pistols. So maybe that is also a declaration of things to come. Another scrappy round, as has so often been the case over the duration of these first 2 maps. And Cello already taking a bit of middle control and catwalk control for himself. Now Luca is on the other side of the smoke. Slight gap in that smoke as well for Pank. And he won't be able to pivot in for the frag. To make matters worse for Young Sharks, even though they have forced into this round, they've lost the first 2 players so quickly.
Yeah, this has been a pretty clean-cut round for Made in Brazil. They get that bomb plant on A side. They still have Cello deep into ladder room territory. Exit's clearing out window room now, so really it's a case where the Sharks are just trying to bring it on over into the next round, just try to keep these Deagles in play.
Oh, those flashes are so good. Luca was completely and utterly screwed off the back of those. At least Realzin, though, does make amends, and that's a Galil at Trade's hands. This would be pretty significant takeout of the round should he be successful. And with the bomb about to detonate, doesn't seem like Made in Brazil are too interested in charging it down. So that will be a sidearm that Realzin can toss across. I believe he did have the Deagle and the Galil. So Sharks have some elements to play with, but you definitely assume that the T's are going to run very briskly into a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, pretty bold statement to kick things off here for Made in Brazil. And you'd imagine that things should be going the same way in this round, as the Sharks have still yet to really be able to get that money rolling. They do have that Galil on Real. They do have a couple of Deagles, as we are going to see the set piece coming in heavy on A side.
Sharks looking to try and somehow defend and pivot away from a very unlikely round. As long as that Galil stays alive, though, in the hands of Reels in, and there's a slight gap in that smoke that he's being boosted into, like there's maybe a way back in here, but they bypassed it. Again, they've left bolts in Palace, and everyone else is headed towards mid.
Yeah, they did spot balls, but were unable to collect him. He's still kind of causing a disturbance and keeping those players in place. In the meantime, Shiz has already cleared out B through market. Yellow's watching underpass, so that flank's not going to be able to come through. They take site, they plant, and there's really just no way for Sharks to kind of creep back in. There's T's posted everywhere across the map to watch out for any type of shenanigans.
Take some speculative shots here for Zevi, and especially he's caved in the head of Cello. That's really not too shabby at all. These are expendable weapons at this point. Maybe the Galil and the Kevlar you'd want to hold on to, but apart from that, it's completely worthwhile to try and take some of these guns away from MIBR.
Yeah, you'd say that, but they're not really too gung-ho about it. They are going to gather up together to try to chase down Bolts inside Palace, so they are indeed at least trying to go for that rifle. And they do take Bolts out of low HP, and you don't fancy a chance to stay alive for much longer. And indeed, he does take one more with him, but that's going to be it, so AK will be saved. So that is one free rifle that exchanges over to the Sharks, and they'll be able to buy around it. Zevi able to get to the op pretty quickly. Double op actually going to be the immediate choice strategically here from the Sharks. Definitely a map where double op can be quite viable, though of course it is still a pretty hefty investment. So definitely want to make the most out of it if you are indeed going to go for that option.
Panic dropping down into the underpass. This smoke will allow him to use it as a one-way up towards middle. It is a little cheeky position, but JNT splatters bolts in the Palace. HE is looking good for damage and does rip Cello down to about half of his hit points. Oh, and Zevi finishes off through the smoke. A much better start from Sharks.
Yeah, the ops finding impact immediately across the map, mid and Palace. Real playing the close angle here as Shiz is trying to make a little bit of a lurk in the B apartments. The rest looking to exercise up middle, maybe try to challenge Connector or challenge Catwalk. They can get to make that choice, but going to be an even tougher one now as Real has found Shiz out inside those apartments. So yes, Sharks starting to get a bit of a rhythm here in this opening buy round, as it may be a flawless one. Yell, the only man standing, all of Sharks still swimming in the seas of Mirage, and Zevi will punch the final one through, and so there you have it, a flawless win for the Sharks.
This is where those two weapons that MIBR conceded in the previous round are actually so impactful. There's a reverberating effect. You can see even though they've dropped an AK across the Cello, Bolt is down at 3,300, so he may have to go down into a Galil. They're lacking a few bits and pieces here in terms of grenades. So this is an opportune moment for Sharks to strike again, to pounce in, break the economy of MIBR, and really get their CT size started.
Indeed, as you are going to see, again, different positions for the ops, trying to be dynamic. Again, there's a lot of opportunities for ops CT side of this map to be proactive, whether it be through B apartments or Palace or middle or just playing back. There's just kind of the world is your oyster in that regard. You just have to make the right decisions at the right time. You're going to see Made in Brazil just kind of keep it slow and just a smooth map control attempt with Yell trying to find a pick at B with the AWP. JNT going to be on the opposing side, but neither has peaked too much just yet. So no chances have been afforded in that regard. Yell playing way back. JNT just holding the angle.
Slow round, surely about to pick up pace. Gonna be a loud and abrasive crescendo in the next 40 seconds. JNT in the perfect position with his AWP, and he spins in, but it's a 1-for-1. Bolt's life not in vain. They've traded out the AWP, smoked down towards the van. Reelsin needs to just stay alive. Hops up onto the bin. And as long as he stays alive, it is a pivot point and a foundation for the rest of his team to come through with, because he can call the close angles are not held by T's. This affords them so many luxuries pushing out of the kitchen, and now he's gone in for a frag. He's fallen down, though, and the rest of his teammates aren't really there to pick up the pieces. They're looking to trade out the AWP for the rifle, as the low HP Luca now has to try and do the sniper duties, but all the frags going the way of MIBR. It felt like the Sharks just weren't on the same page. Realzim was just left stranded all alone.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like he was in such a prime position. I think you were illustrating it perfectly on what they could do with that very maneuver. He gets the 1 kill onto the B Apartments player, gives you some real hope. And then when he decides to go for that final push into sight, there was no one in there behind him. And so, yeah, either he needed to stay back and wait a bit longer, or he needed his teammates to push with him there and set up some trades on the site before Made in Brazil could escape and get into different post-plant positions. Definitely a drop of the ball there from the Sharks, but good moves from Made in Brazil, you know, getting that equal op trade through B, getting into sight, and, you know, handling that retake with ease. Certainly, Sharks made it a bit easier for them with how they decided to move across.
MIBR making a couple of missteps as well. Exit did die to the bomb, so they're still in an awkward place financially. Bolt's still down on a Galil. So very much the same could be said if MIBR were to lose this. Sharks have a good opportunity to start to pivot together a couple of rounds. Cello instantly getting out, though, and bypassing most of these defenses. JNT, good flick, but again gets traded instantly.
Yeah, the trading efficiency of Made in Brazil has been so good, but that's changed rapidly as Zevi, Pank are able to combo up for 3 big kills, leaving Yell all alone with a 1v4 on the site, missing his first chance and blindsided by Real right after that bullet went astray. And so a really swift response from Sharks, Vince, right what the doctor ordered to try to keep them in close contention. As you had already noted, the economy of Made in Brazil was certainly in dire straits, and now they will suffer the repercussions of that based off that loss. That was a tough round because they didn't have that much utility, so they had to just kind of go for it off of whatever utility they started off with, because they weren't going to have anything else to fake or feint with and try to build something else in the late round after already dumping all their smokes towards the site. We just saw Sharks playing it smart, playing around it. And does Yell have an R8?
Oh my god.
What? I mean, I know the Deagle got nerfed a little bit, bro, but is the R8 really the answer? I don't know.
Could go for a Tech 9, could go for PT. Nah, R8, let's go. Okay, well, I mean, maybe he makes it work. Maybe he's just secretly amazing.
Are we playing
with the
Fistful of Frags now?
I'm down.
Pass the whiskey.
I really want him to land a really quick headshot, though.
I mean, he got something landed on him instead, yeah.
He's at 19 HP, so
someone
good
needs
luck.
to pass him the whiskey now. Holy cow. That was a banging, underrated game on Steam. It's a good laugh.
There we go. They're utilizing it. Dropping the nade safely in the alcove. There we go. He's basically accepted at this point that he's either going to land a headshot or he's going out on a shield.
I wonder if this is a conscious decision or if someone memed him. That will happen sometimes on your computer. You swap out the weapon, you don't even notice it. And then you get stuck in a situation like this.
Cello's down first, though. And yeah, I mean, this round, we were expecting it to fall into place. They were down at about $1,400 MIBR. That's how bad their economy was, hence the force buy. This does put, if Shiz were to die, an AK out in the battlefield, which Sharks would happily pick up for themselves. Interestingly, even with the A1S changes, we have 3 A4s in the battlefield. No A1S.
I still think it's a superior. But it's just, if you like the silence, it's more viable.
Oh.
Okay. Speaking of viable.
Oh, he's done it!
He has. A miracle. I bet you he will be the stat leader for the R8 revolver in IEM Fall.
That's a safe bet, I think.
Yeah, I feel pretty comfy with that one. As it does get cleaned up by the Sharks in the end, losing only a couple of players, so building up the money nicely, getting themselves right back in contention of this half, only one away from tying this thing back up. Couple of fun moments out of Made in Brazil with these pistols, but nothing too damning. Double op still in play for the Sharks, and they have found great value out of it. Though also at times, JNT, I feel like, you know, doesn't want to go 1-for-1. He wants to be able to get that one and get away, and he hasn't really been able to do that just yet. But now maybe this can be the change. Now it's just Glocks and 1P250 for Made in Brazil. Luca almost got caught there, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I think if it's not Glocks and P250s, he's gone. Like, there's no two ways about it. Got very fortunate. This grenade has damage written all over it. Oh, it just crashes into Yell and Exit. They're wounded, they're limping, and now they've been finished off.
Does that count towards his operation mission? That 200 damage?
Possibly.
Yeah, there you go. Get it done.
Real turn of fortunes, though. MIBR, after winning the pistol, were looking good, and suddenly they've been crashed back down to earth with a bang.
Man, they come into this one with still no AWP, and honestly, still not the craziest amount of utility. They only have the 4 smokes, which again means that you basically have to commit off of wherever you use it. Otherwise, you're going in with nothing. So they have to be a little bit more crafty about how they choose to place them. As they are going to once again go for some mid control. Look at the aggression out of the Sharks. They're going to pop flash Luca, and he might have a prime chance to bust them up.
Oh, he'll feel like he should have done better there. He did get 1 kill and a lot of the second as well, but it's unconfirmed damage on TL. He'll feel he tagged him, but he has no idea what his HP bar has fallen to. So a 1-for-1 trade's not terrible, but it could have gone so much better.
Yeah, the one thing it did afford at least, though, was for them to get that op forward on A ramp and have Paint cover the Palace. So they're able to use the mid play, get the read on the numbers, and it gives them a chance to get a little bit more aggressive on the A side of the map, or at least feel a little bit safer getting these forward positions. Now, what result it nets is a whole different story. It could go wrong, but this could be a nice leveraging point.
And they do put in Yell first, who was the weakened player. I do like that from MIBR. Bolts, though, is instantly dispatched. Tank post haste. They push down the ramp, even those flashes in left and right. MIBR have just brute forced their way into the A side, and he's still yet to cross onto the site itself, but now smokes are being put into place. Flash towards the CT boxes where Reelsin is looking to try and move in. And they're not sure as to where these T's are just yet. They have very little information. Zevi nullifying Bolt, but it won't stop the bomb plant. 23 seconds on the clock, and down it goes. Shiz is worse for wear at 41 HP, and they only have a flash between the two of them. It's not as if there's any high ordnance, though, for the Sharks either, and the headshot has been reined in from Shiz. Zevi going for the long con rotation, but now with him being the last player, maybe he can take down Shiz, but he has to get a move on. The bomb is ticking away ever so quickly. He does have a kit. There's the first frag, but no idea as to Exit's current position. And Exit's not actually positioned for the bomb right now. So this smoke could certainly throw a cat in amongst the pigeons. Tickles the bomb, tries to draw Exit onto the open. Exit's given his position away, but he hasn't been punished. And even though the kill comes down, Zevi may actually die to the bomb. It will detonate. He manages to scurry away with 21 HP, but the round is lost.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing with that round was, yes, the mid aggression only gets a 1-for-1 trade, which is less than ideal for the CT side. But I think the other big thing was Bolts' frag out of Palace. It traps JNT's op, and it allows Shiz to get that entry, and that's what turns the tides on the man advantage. It gives A-side control to Made in Brazil, and they're able to figure it out from there, mostly off of the clock, if we're honest, as Zevi did get the kills he needed, but did not have the time to get the defuse. So I think Bolts' frag and the response from Shiz off the back of it was really the key sequence that gets Made in Brazil out in front here. 5-4 is the score. Money still available for Sharks to keep that double op in play, as well as plenty of rifles to go around it. As, of course, an AK was saved over from Zevi, able to drop that over to Pank and buy himself an op. And the money's still low for Made in Brazil. Again, they're winning rounds, but at times they're only surviving with none or one player, so you can see they're having to go for a couple Galils here, Vince, and again, not that much utility.
Oh, Cello.
Hello?
You just got wrecked off that Molotov because you failed the smoke, and he's been finished off, and it goes to the AWP, so he dies anyway. But that is such a strange moment. Luca now hops behind them in sandwich, but it's traded out. So at least it's not a free frag. Shiz in the meanwhile, though, going to town with his AK, doubles up before Bolts is put down again, and Zevi is the man on form as he puts in 3 frags, gets the Sharks across the finish line, and MIBR's financial woes continue. It just feels like they're never stabilizing.
Vince, Zevi is 14-1. He's died 1 time in 10 rounds. That's 14 kills. Just want to throw that one out there.
Straight up beast.
Yeah, he is crushing it. Luka having a pretty good game as well. He's only 6-6 with 93 ADR across the 10 rounds, so he's doing well. And that is kind of the two players that you do usually look out for Sharks to make the big plays. And so far they're living up to that. And as you noted, Made in Brazil, though, worse for wear here. Glocks only. This is the second time they've been in a situation like this half. And obviously in the previous round, they didn't have a whole lot either. They have had a couple of mishaps running through fire vents. I will say that throughout the series. It's been quite odd. They just don't look as sharp as you'd hope to see out of them.
No, it's a good point. Like, we've just seen a couple of these small mistakes that have big impacts at this level of Counter-Strike.
Sure.
I mean, getting knocked down to 20 HP because the molly is so brutal. Pank, in the meanwhile, was looking a bit grim, but JNT is there to lend him a helping hand.
Arms
before turning his attention back again.
This seems like a formality at this point. Not a whole lot of spoiler that Made in Brazil can play in this round going forward. Already 2 down with little to use. One's been spotted here over by Bellman. It's going to be Luka getting shiz out of it.
We'll say, though, as maybe a bit of a silver lining for MIBR, they looked far superior on their nuke CT side, so I would hope that their CT side definitely has a lot more in store, and that would maybe lend itself to what we were talking again about before, that they couldn't really get too much prep in because of illness and that kind of stuff. So CT side's a little bit more forgiving in that respect.
Sure. Also worth noting that definitely the stronger side on Mirage lately for the Sharks has been their defense. When you look at some of their victories, it's usually been based upon having big CT sides. They've certainly proven capable on the T side as well in a couple of their matches.
A bit of aggression outside again. We have seen this multiple times through middle, but this time MIBR's position is so solid. And for the Sharks, fortunately, they decide better of that decision. They back away into the site. Did give them early intel at the very least. They get a bit of middle control for themselves, but when you consider that they already have Shiz up just outside of the B-apps, early control being established now from the Ts.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in this spot a lot throughout this half, where they've been able to get them in control, play out their default, put that pressure on Connector and Catwalk, and, get a little bit of a launching pad to play from. The issue has normally been that they've lost their opening duels from this point forward, and they just haven't been able to work together in the mid-round to really create that key opening onto a site. That has been kind of the big issue here, and Pank, that's so swift to catch Yell, and so again Made in Brazil find themselves a step behind in these opening duels. As still have yet to make a decision on where they want to take this thing. Looks like they are going to try to put Shiz on a lurk through B, but it's being watched by Zevi, and that's going to kill that option.
At least Exit, though, does bounce back straight away, so he's not allowing this to get too out of control. Bolt's now sending the shockwave down the Sharks, but Cello is picking up the pieces. Bomb under control. Luka, try as he may, can't quite thread the frag, and this is an important kill because Cello still needs to cross to the site where Zevi lands the shot center mass. Bomb spills out, and Zevi goes in again. That's 17-1 for the AWPA on Sharks. How is it possible to have that score considering they've lost 5 rounds?
Yeah, you also have Pank on 131 ADR and 13 frags. Luka, high 90 ADR, 8 and 6. I mean, it's not just a one-man show. Everyone having some great moves here. Again, sometimes Made in Brazil seems so reliant upon individual skill winning key fights. They look a little bit disjointed in some of these mid to late round situations. And now, again, they are faced with a round where they have very little to work with. Utility is stalling them out on the A ramp as they're trying to set up this A set piece. The smokes will come out now, trying to get in, and they do make some headway. But they aren't blocking CT spawn just yet, so JNT has a chance. Misses though, gets flashed, might get pushed.
Strength in numbers, though, and there is a gap in the smoke, so if any further Ts decide to try and push CT boxes, they would be punished and put down. Even if a plant comes in here, which isn't necessarily guaranteed, the position's looking good for the Sharks, but that frag from Shiz is huge, and now Zevi has to be called upon one more time, and the Immortal has finally been proven that maybe he is human after all. Reels in, Last man standing, 3 players around him. First frag goes down, significant damage through the boxes, and he does have a smoke to cross with. Still half of the timer left as he goes onto the site. He's just going to try and stick it. No, he actually comes off it instead, and he baits out Shiz into the open. Goes back onto the bomb, but he's running out of ammunition. An exit puts him down. Such a nice effort from Realsin, but in one of the worst buys that MIBR have mustered so far, they make it somehow work.
Yeah, that is shocking that Sharks did not come up with that. I mean, it's the CT spawn push that gets into a 4-on-4 post plant. But as you noted, they were playing some nice gaps in the smoke. They seem to have good positioning. Yet somehow it winds up Realsin being in a very difficult 1v2, and he cannot come up with it. So Made in Brazil using one of their final timeouts of the map. They have one left after this, just trying to think this one through. They know how big of a moment this round could be if they could win it, because it would stamp out Sharks' economy and would give them a chance to still win this half 8-7. So this is definitely critical. If you're Sharks, you feel like you gotta win this one. You've done such good work throughout this half. And you really kind of set them an banana peel on that one, so they want to be able to recover as quickly as possible. This time it's just a single lot for Zevi.
Molly down, of course, to try and block the window smoke, had it have been tossed in, which it wasn't.
Hello.
Oh, what a shot from Bolts. Insta headshot onto JNT, and those were the kind of plays he was making on Nuke time after time. That gives him IBR a quick fire lead.
Yeah, JNT just trying to jiggle peek with the nade out and just gets caught by a beautiful shot for Bolts. Didn't have a chance to respond at all to that. That is, again, going to open up some space, perhaps. Looks like they're going to try to pile in. Great Molotov going to push Realsin out of position here over towards Van, but he's going to reclaim it because they don't push off the back of it. And now he knows they're not committing. He's been spotted by Yell, but he's not been hit. And so they really gain not much value out of that Molotov. They're actually having to back off. They still have plenty of time. They still have a foothold at A, thanks to Cello making it up connector, and with Bolt still in position at ramp. So looks like they've made a great read here in this 5-on-4. The only real problem is Pank's aggressive palace position. What impact can that have?
I wonder if with sticking 3 players over on the B side, they're just looking to opt to save here. Like, they've already half given up this round. There's no rotations in yet. Just no one's moving. It felt like if Pank can pull off a couple kills, they get interested again. Otherwise, they save. And we've reached that point where the Sharks, I think they've already tapped out. Like, mentally, they know this round is done. There's 10 seconds. There's no one here to stop the plant. They're going to do their due diligence, though, MIBR, because they're not sure about this. But the round is going to be their way. We're going to be tied up at 7 apiece.
Indeed. That is going to be the case. Hopefully they can just hold on to these weapons. Zevi kind of making sure that no one's pushing in behind from market just yet. Looks like Cello may give a bit of chase here with the AK, clearing an underpass into B apartments. But honestly, if you're Made in Brazil, you don't have a whole lot of money to spare. So you kind of want to hold on to some stuff. Not throw away too much. But certainly the reward is tantalizing if they could indeed bring some of these weapons down. So you do see a couple going for it. Not all the way, though. We'll just stay at this, so it will be all weapons carried over. But the round for Made in Brazil, they've tied things up at 7 apiece.
Hasn't been the most explosive best of 3 so far. It's been very tense, as you'd expect. For the reason that you mentioned, Dust, that these two teams really are duking it out for the major spot. Whichever gets further, especially if they were to win this, it would be theirs by and large. So you can tell that there's a lot on the line, and both teams know it. We've already seen so many timeouts been called, a lot of very slow rounds.
Yeah, again, Made in Brazil is #1 in their rankings right now. They're 55 points ahead of Sharks, who sit in second. So yes, whoever gets the better result in this tournament mathematically should take that one contender spot left up for grabs for South America. So just re-emphasizing the importance of this result to get off on the right foot in this tournament, to stay in that upper bracket, to perhaps have that map advantage at the end of it when you get to the grand final. We're going to see again, same tried and true mid control out of Made in Brazil. Same alert from Bolts on the A side. he's done throughout his career, but the difference here is Pank defends connector, and this time it's not traded back instantly. It's a clean opening kill for Sharks.
A much needed one as well. Alleviate some of that pressure that's been building up. Bolts though, as so often has been the case, on a fact-finding mission by himself and gets an entry. And it's JNT again. He's the nemesis of JNT at this point.
Yes, he has been so accurate in those fights. Still, though, Luka goes unchecked inside this position, but Yellow's very quick to trade. Still one defender on site, but he's quickly dealt with. And so it's going to be a 3-on-2 post-plant, though Exit and Balls are low on health.
Great avenging kill from Yell. Down to Zevi. 18 and 2 to his name. Could be on for the 20 bomb. Could be on for the 1v2 clutch. But the positions could not have worked out better for MIBR. They move in the lead going through to the second half. And Dust, this is anyone's game.
Indeed, it is very much up for grabs, and we'll figure it all out after a short break.
Our second half will read 8-7 to MIBR, but very similar to Nuke Dust, if we're being completely honest. This could have been an entirely different prospect altogether. The Sharks had that half in the palm of their hands, and they did let it slip away towards the end. But the roles now reversed, and with it being so close, this really is anybody's game.
Yeah, not a whole lot of advantage gained for either side in that first half. As you noted, there was certainly some chances for Sharks to have a big half, maybe, you know, win it 9-6 even or something along those lines, but now they find themselves behind. Pistol now ahead of us. They're trying to attack into A very quickly. Exit and Bolt still handling it just fine, and indeed the reinforcements arrive, and it's looking like a pretty clean sweep. Pank able to get one, but that's going to be it. JNT does still have bomb. Maybe if he sprints all the way, he could maybe get the kill he needs to get a bomb plant on B, but it does seem very unlikely at this point, as there's already a pretty nice rotation. A couple players now defending it.
Yeah, it feels like if he's going to try and sneak a B plant, he'll probably have to be very, very patient, like sit here for 30, 40 seconds. You expect at that point MIBR maybe send a scout out to look for information, but he's actually playing the long con. He's going to be coming through the connector side, seeing if he can maybe tear off the head of Cello, which he has been successful in. But this is where he's not sure as to whether a player is posted up on the catwalk, which would be a free frag in his back. So he's slowing it down again, at least making this a little bit more costly. If he could rummage together a plan, it gives his team options going into that next round. So that's really his mission as it stands. In terms of winning, that is a pipe dream somewhere in the very far distant future. And he has to just claw back into this round with a kill or two more before he'll even begin to believe that's a distinct possibility. He could hear the footsteps though, and the jumping up on the toll booth of Exit, who's gone up again, now gets spotted out, but takes off the head of JNT. Now, if that had gone the way of JNT, that could have been a post plant, but it doesn't matter. MIBR take the second pistol.
Yeah, that's what he needed. He needed that final kill at the ticket booth there to get that plant and get a post plant 1v2. Not going to happen though. Bolts and Exit and company just lock down this A side. It's kind of a quicker dry hit onto A out of the Sharks, and it was very easily dealt with. And we are going to see their rifles bought up a plenty from Main Brazil. 3 from us, the M4, 1 MP9 for Bolts. It is the full-on Glock save for the T side, so looking to buy up a full in the next round. So Main Brazil very likely should find themselves up 10-7 here. Shouldn't really be a way forward for Sharks with just the Glocks.
If we look at the raw stats, it would certainly favor MIBR to convert from this point in the game. Typically, CT side is their better half, and the Sharks typically do better on their defense. But we have also seen in the past that that very much can be flipped on its head when these two teams do battle. And, well, the Sharks, as you said, full Glocks looking to try and train their way across onto B, where Bolts is waiting with the MP9, a weapon that is tailor-made to shred a lot of adversaries. This grenade touches down so much damage, but actually the first frag goes the way of Reelsin before Molotov burns 2 players alive. But with Reelsin facing off against Exit, it does afford them the luxury of a bomb plant, and when you consider they got a kill and a bomb plant with a full Glock round, that is a definite W for the Sharks.
Am I crazy, or could have Exit not have denied that plant, though? I feel like he saw the guy planting, but decided to go for the fight on the bench player anyway. That was a bit odd. I feel like he could have just gone for the trying to stop the plant, but whatever. To each their own. They win the round, which was, again, kind of a foregone conclusion, but yeah, conceding that bomb plant does give the Sharks buying power even more of a wallop behind it. Op included for Zevi, who's had a hell of a game so far. At one point, he was 17-1. So he definitely had something going, and you feel like he's going to be a vital piece on this T side to get Sharks back into it if it's going to happen. As this is looking like some weird things going on over towards CT spawn. Perhaps it's going to wind up being a restart.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome here.
Getting those vibes, Vince. Yeah.
Indeed. There we go. At least it's quick. I'll be straight back in with the another purchase in just a few moments' time here.
Yes, love to see
Very fast admin work. That's awesome.
Remember when you had to do manual replays?
Oh, jeez. Those were the days.
No, they weren't. Those were not the days. Stop. See, there's some nostalgia that is romantic, but there is some that's just better forgotten. And manual replays would definitely be one of those things.
But with the advancements, now we can get back underway again, and hopefully that false start will be rectified. It's looking good. I think the players are ready to jump back in. So 10-7 the score. Same buy will be coming up. Very early aggression as well, as Reelsin had a good spawn. Grenades tossed down, flashes and mollies traded out, but they're not actually pushing behind it. And that may be for their own good, as there's a gap in that smoke that is being exploited from Yell, but he hasn't seen any players cross just yet.
Yeah, very slow start here for Sharks, playing very passive, anticipating aggression, it seems, over towards the top of middle. Definitely taking their time. Now the smokes do come out over towards window and stairs side of connector. That is going to give them an easier passage to cat without being spotted over the top of some type of connector smoke that would stay inside the middle of it. We do see a counter incendiary to try to deny the T's control of connector, at least for a short time, but it will be taken nonetheless by Luca as their smokes fade. Setting up for what looks like an A split based on their connector presence and where that bomb is located at ramp. CTs, though, still have a defense in place on A side, and Bolt still could rotate. Indeed, he will just in time, Vince.
Yeah, it's looking good. Right time to make a move in. Now he's in the right place to thwart this push. Taking a lot of damage, but does get a frag, a little bit of damage off the back of it. But the fact that he's fallen down at jungle now isolates these two CTs on the wrong side of the site. This is where grenades could be firing their way, but Shiz takes off 2 heads before Luca comes back in. 12 seconds to play, and his teammate is low. He needs this frag, and he has delivered the goods. There should be time for this plant. Yell's not in position to deny this. And no ordnance either. He's actually hiding, hoping that the bomb was too far gone to pick up and retrieve. And in doing so, he's actually given the chance for the orbit to cross.
Yes.
And with that movement, this round feels like it's just been dialed in.
It does. Seems like the best bet for Yell is to save, and indeed he has made that call. Maybe if he could have spotted the cross and got into a 1v1, he would have considered it. I can understand his logic, though, thinking that maybe they aren't going to be able to get the plant in time. It's a worthwhile roll of the dice, but just doesn't get the numbers he was looking for there. So Sharks will go up 8-10. Bit of a labored A attack. Definitely ran across a couple of big hurdles, but were eventually able to clear them and get victory. Keep themselves in this race. They are already a map to the good, having secured Nuke. Very close one where they did get it. So they have that third map safety net if needed, but they are hoping that's not going to be required, as they are off to at least a good start here on their opening gun round on this T side.
So tactical timeout deployed already from the Sharks, knowing the importance of this round. Economy right for the taking. As you say, first rifle round is a pass. Not without its issues, though. And when Shiz got those 2 frags from Firebox, to be real, I thought the round was done. I thought MIBR had actually somehow dug themselves out with that one.
Did seem like that was taking a little bit too long to clear out, that is for sure. Sharks using one of their timeouts here. They still have 3 remaining. They know how important this round could be, as they know that they had the CT economy low, and a win here would likely mean a tie game. That's Brazil would have to take a save. In their own right, though, their economy is not the best, so that makes it even more cautious for them to really make sure they handle this round as efficiently as possible. Looks like they are going to put a little bit more of a presence towards A with this boost from Zevi's op, but no one crosses to give him a look. And now they will just kind of go back to a slower default.
There are 2 games going on simultaneously, by the way. The other 2 teams in this tournament, Bravos Gaming and Imperial, are doing battle. It is currently 1-0 to the team of Bravos, went 16-14, but the second map is 15-13 to Imperial. So it's looking like that may very well go the distance in each map and to a third. But in the here and now, MIBR do lead by 2, but do trail by 1 map after they lost Nuke in very close fashion. This round has been another slow one. A lot of utility is now missing, though, for MIBR with over a minute on the clock. 2 players with absolutely nothing, and Shiz only with a flashbang. That could be an issue as time ticks forward.
Yeah, finally flashes are used to get Sharks into top middle. They will smoke off the window, and they will again start trying to exercise some deeper mid control. It's taken a while. They're going to, again, push off that stairs angle with it. Molly, and now a smoke, but Yell has ladder. He spots the barrel. Clean kill onto Luca. No ability to get that one back, but they know now that one is ladder, and so they think that B is vulnerable, and they would be correct, and they're going to look to pounce, and they're going to get in there for free. And they're going to have a 4-on-5 post plant events because Baltz is playing back. He has not even begun to rotate towards market side. And now they catch Yell that make matters even worse.
Could be a save. This is where the lack of utility dust is a massive problem.
Yes.
It's a 4v4, but you know you have nothing to break back on the site with, and you have to pull the plug.
Yeah, it's grim, but just based on positioning, it's kind of what they had to do. It felt like they were kind of hedging their bets by kind of overstacking towards A side of the map, that way, if it wasn't a hit, they would be ready to defend it. And if not, they were just trusting in Yell to make plays, and that would get them a way back in at B if need be, but that doesn't happen. And so, as you said, they're going to save it up here. At least, though, this means it's not going to be a free 10th round for Sharks. They're going to have to fight for it. Keeping the game very close. Also, very important thing we need to talk about here, Vince. Could you take a guess what it might be?
The ADR has reset.
No.
Although that is also true. If you look at the ADRs,
Yes.
it's because of the match medic. But what is it that
JNT has a Zeus.
Oh, okay. Interesting to take that on the T side when you already have an AWP. But okay, I'm down.
Could have been a spy, never know. Yell trying to go for something aggressive here with the MP9 in Palace. He's got support as well. Cello with him here, and they do overwhelm Pank. That's a big catch. They could upgrade a weapon.
Yeah, no chance at retaliation either. That is a hit and run. And as you say, that's an AK now trades hands.
Yeah. I almost feel like Sharks is playing this defense a little too cautious, a little too slow. Like, Made in Brazil can basically have their way with the map on the periphery or even aggressive middle, and Sharks are just allowing that to happen based on how they're playing. Great catch, though, onto Yell.
Seems like a bit of an unnecessary move as well, though, when you're a player up. As you just said, you control so much of the map that throwing that player away definitely just resets everything we were talking about. Not only is it the AK that they picked up, that they upgraded, that's been lost, but additionally, now they're running into another problem where they only have one kit, lack of utility, and they're spread that little bit more thin across the board.
Yeah, again, they're going to have to hedge their bets over towards the A side of the map, it feels like, to playing A side, and they're, again, having kind of exit lean that direction, but now he will reinforce with Cello on B, so it's going to be 2 to a site. Maybe even Bolt's thinking about rotating over this way as well. Indeed, he is. So it seems like they're going to be in the right place at the right time, Vince, as this execute is pouring in. Molotovs over the van, smokes down. There's a boosted player inside the site as well. Will it get checked?
It doesn't get checked, and that cost them dearly. Exit and Bolt's now coming through with kills. A 1v2 with 12 seconds and Zevi's last man alive. He knows the Bolt was last seen on the site, but he doesn't know. And I think the bomb dropped up on the box, which is even more brutal.
Yeah, he had to jump to get it, which made him vulnerable. And so Made in Brazil will collect that frag. Money in a dire place now for Sharks. It would be a tough horse buy for them to go for if they do. And yeah, they just did not clear out this boosted player on site fast enough. And the perfect timing on the rotation from Made in Brazil. It all lines up for them. And yeah, indeed it is going to be Sharks having to bite the bullet here. Just Tech 9s. They're going to look to go for a faster play towards B, it seems. And hold the phone, Vince, because this might be perfect. It is just Bolts here. It's A aggression on ramp from Made in Brazil. The other 2 by ticket and sight. And so, yeah, they're going to have to play retake here 5-5 unless Bolts can get something on his way. He does get 1. There's a second. Nicely done.
But in the meanwhile, Luka gets aggressive in the shop and just wrecks exit. It's a 3-on-3 post plant. Now, they can't quite get their hands on the weapons just yet. I think they've just picked up Bolt's M4. That grenade is good. That's money. That's damage. And he finishes off where he started. Zevi behind the smoke with 1. Can't quite double up for a second. And now Luka is stuck on 24 HP between a rock and a hard place and a Tech 9 by his side. This would be one hell of a clutch. Oh, he takes the head of Shiz and nearly finishes with the shot on Yell is outrageous. And he can play around the side. Takes down Shiz. Takes an unbelievable clutch and dials in a 10th round for Sharks.
Now that'll get your blood flowing, Vince. That was the biggest play, I feel like, of what we've seen so far. What a nasty clutch. Kind of equalizing Bolts' 1v2 from Nuke. Just knowing that he had to do something, knowing that if he played standard, he was going to get overwhelmed, and he just dances around, implements the full strength of the Tech 9's mobility, and finds a way to reel that one in, and now they have a brilliant chance to time this thing up 11 apiece. That's once more, it is Made in Brazil with little to work with, and once again, Yell's out in the Wild West, Vince.
He's answered our question if this was a legit buy or not. It absolutely is. He wants to feel the pain. He wants to try and take some heads off with the R8.
Oh no.
Damage done. Don't try this at home, kids. Please. Just don't do it.
Probably people aren't going to know that. You do.
Yeah, Hunt Showdown.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, some people are like, "What is he all right? Is Dust okay?"
No, I'm not, but that's a different story. It's different, whole different topic, really.
Love this call though from Sharks as well, realizing that an over rotation could come in, which has definitely been the case. And then they look to hit A, where Shiz is alone with a Deagle. Best of luck to you, sir. This is going to be a rough ask for him to hold this one.
Yes. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Vince. Think you've really hit the nail on the head there. Not a very risky piece of analysis, but certainly an accurate one. I feel like a JNT, though. Nope, never mind. That was his one hope. If he gets that kill, gets the AK, maybe you start trying to play out different realities where they could somehow figure this one out, but that has been stamped away. I don't even think Dr. Strange sees the one possibility here.
No, and they need someone to sacrifice themselves. And I don't see that happening because they're all congregated on B. Looks like they're pretty happy because remember, this was a force buy. So any of these guns and the Kevlar would be very much a worthwhile save to have into that next round. So they're going to be happy to tap out on this one. Cello with the R8, so we can drop this across the L again. We're really interested to pick Yell's brains as to why he would be using the R8 over the Deagle. If he maybe thinks that the nerf to the Deagle is that bad.
Surely not. Just headshot forehead.
Yeah, it's that wind-up that I think is such a problem with the R8. It's like
Yeah,
you kind of have to anticipate where they're going to be.
Remember when it was just God tier when it first dropped, though?
Oh, it was broken, yeah.
Like mini weapons throughout Counter-Strike's history.
I think that was one of the fastest fixes, though, right? Like, it got fixed within a few days because that's how bad it was.
It's pretty fast, yeah. CZ, different story. Tech9, different story.
Yeah.
I think the
that was
AUG,
like a year plus.
like the AUG was also pretty quickly fixed. Like the initial big AUG buff was also fixed pretty quick, but... Here we go. He's still doing it, Vince.
Yeah, I feel like Cello's just enabling him. If I'm Cello, I just don't pick up the R8 and like, listen, I'll drop you USP instead, all right? And you will like it. Just stop playing with his garbage.
He's just trying to hone in his inner Chuck Norris fence. But I think, unfortunately, the roundhouse kick would have a better chance at doing something than this R8. And that is not an ability that you can implement in this game. You can knife people, though. And even that might have a better chance. In fact, in this situation, if Luka doesn't check, perfect time to do it.
Prove us wrong, Yell, and dead. Nope.
Curtains
nice
closed.
F's from Bolts getting two.
Yeah.
Really, so much more than I was expecting, but I don't think it changes the dynamic of how this round is coming down realistically. 2-on-3, and Shiz just has a USP. Cello does have the Kevlar and an MP9, but at this kind of range, not really that useful. And his teammate's just been smacked out of his boots courtesy of Zevi, who moves on to 23-7 now. Cello wants to steal that AK. Oh, that's big.
Yeah. Not the best you could hope for in this situation, at least come away with the weapon. Sharks, though, will come away with the lead. They'll be up 12-11. The economy's starting to build up pretty nicely, though. That's another rebuy that will have to happen as Real does get caught trying to chase after Cello. And now they know that he has saved an AK. Of course, they know that they're up against a full buy next round no matter what. But honestly, if Made in Brazil are unable to convert this next round, they're right back to saving ways, most likely. That's where Sharks can really steer out in front and really pose a threat to 2-0 this series. Again, the last time these two teams met, it was a 2-1 series in favor of Sharks. This map was not played in that series. Their previous meeting on Mirage was way back in May. It was a win for Made in Brazil, part of the way that they won that best-of-3. And again, these teams have been back and forth throughout the year. Very close. 4 map wins for Sharks to 3 of Made in Brazil. I guess now it's 5-3, if you consider that Sharks just won nuke.
Yeah, and even both of these maps have been very close. I don't think either team, if we're being completely honest, come out of this feeling like they've played their A game. There's been a lot of shaky moments and questionable decisions and executions that definitely didn't hit the mark.
Yeah, most of their games have been at least like 16-10 type games. There's only been a couple of blowouts in the history, which was Sharks blowing them out on Dust 2 and Vertigo in their previous meeting. But yeah, outside of that, they do have that history of playing each other close, even within the maps, not just the map records. As we come into, again, a very big moment for Made in Brazil, a must-win round you have to feel. Otherwise, Sharks could really start building up that lead. They're going to go for the A set piece early, it seems, trying to change up the pace a bit, but the defense is in place, Vince, and Pank has already taken a pretty heavy blow, and it's just gotten worse. The old 1-2 leads him with 23 HP. That slows this thing down from Sharks. No longer looking to commit out those smokes.
Pank has been one of those players as well, Dust, that seems to get a lot of aggressive, like, first openers, you know, those entries, especially on Nuke. So with him being low, they need someone else to step up to the plate, and Luca could very well be that man, mollying all of their close angles. Player on the stairs. Hasn't been deterred too much, but that flashbang could not have been better, and it's that man Pank that tosses it in. Cello is low, being spammed down to 4 HP. He has to get out of there, but at least Jungle has gone uncontested, and Bolts could punish them for this. Big frag down, trying to get them on the cross is Zevi. From the back, looking to plunge the dagger into the spine of MIBR. That's exactly what he does to Bolts. And with that loss of life, Cello surely is living on borrowed time with 4 HP, and he has no idea that Zevi is about to take him down from the shop area. And with it, the 2-round lead comes in, but this is what you're talking about, Dust. The economy, again, is so rough.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario right now for Made in Brazil. They have to save yet again here. Sharks likely find 14. Gives them that little bit of cushion going into the latter stretch of the half. This is a great flash push from Luca. Just great utility usage all in all, I feel like, from Sharks. They did a great job clearing out everything with their Molotovs, making sure that they weren't going to fall prey to some type of gimmicky angle being held or some type of silly stack. Definitely showing some good discipline. And now, Yell playing the hero op in this round. The one weapon really on the field that poses the biggest threat. There's a few Deagles out there. We have seen Bolts pop off a few headshots with it, to be fair. But still, you fancy Sharks' chances here, Vince. You feel like they need to capitalize here. I will say they have slipped a couple of times in moments like this throughout the series, though. This is the good time to put that away, though. Get it done.
No, that's definitely a fair assessment. You know, they've had a lot of issues. They have been sent packing a number of times when you thought that this was their moment to just finalize the map. So Luca, again, out first, again, gets the opening pick, but Shiz, stuck at the back of the site with his Deagle, is putting it to use, wants to try and get into does before the shrapnel finishes him off. But that trade really goes about as well as they could have hoped for, because the Sharks are low with Pank. They have Yell watching the cross, and a slow crab-walking Zevi is boiled alive by Yell's AWP. 2 players stuck on the CT boxes, and they've thrown their smoke towards Connector. So this allows those 2 CTs now to be that much more of a threat. 30 seconds to play with. This is looking dire now for the Sharks. An exit removes the head of JNT. Spray is labored from Pank, but he's still alive, still in the fight with 33 hit points. But Yell has the cross. 15 seconds to play with. Yell misses his shot. This could prove to be punishing. Pank sticks on the bomb, and Bolt goes for the peak, not anticipating to actually just hold it down. And although he's lost his head, that plant is pretty big for Sharks. However, how did we just build this round up, Dust, by saying so often they struggle in these rounds, and they've done it again?
Yeah, I can't for the life of me understand the peek there from Zevi through Connector. Just a slow crawling peek. I mean, maybe just not obviously anticipating Yell would have an op. I mean, that's certainly something you can't expect when you're dealing with only pistols if you come on the site. So you figure, yeah, I should be safe here. So in that regard, I can't fully blame him, but it still did just seem not necessary. And now they have to work even harder to get that 14th round. It is going to be the full buy here for Made in Brazil. Big eco victory there for them. Chiz, big pistol kills with that Deagle, you feel is a big part of it.
1-for-1.
Yep.
At least getting the kills, though, they're making this costly every single time. They're constantly breathing down the necks of MIBR. It's not anything intricate or super tactically advanced. It's just run and gun style. Get that aim on board. Now Cello has snuck his way into the sandwich. Labored spray, but he still gets 2. Spins around on a swivel and turrets into 2 frags, giving his team the advantage in this retake. And Exit is already round the back. He is looking to try and put this round to bed, and Pank is sent reeling out. JNT still looking, anticipating, going in for the gamble. but Bolts removes him, and yet again, MIBR successfully get the defuse.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I applaud Sharks for picking up the pace. And, you know, we talked about how earlier on in the half they were relying on just playing like really slow defaults, really passive, really back, giving Main Brazil a lot of space on the map potentially. If they so chose to, you know, take it, then it would have been Sharks really having to fight hard in the late round to just get safe foundations to build off of. And so I applaud the pivot, but they've been really careless. You know, Main Brazil have made some really wacky, aggressive plays and have gotten away with murder, essentially, in some of these different late-round situations. You feel like it should be easily punished, and it just hasn't been. I mean, credit for being crafty, I guess, from Main Brazil's perspective, but you have to feel like Sharks should be ready for those situations.
Yeah, with a name like Sharks, you're expecting that predatory sort of efficiency to come in if there's advantages to take them. And to have no mercy, to be ruthless. And I completely echo your sentiments. Feels like Sharks, again, I did mention this. I don't think either team has played their A game here, far from it.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think. I think both teams would admit to that. As we are now in a 4-on-4 situation with a little over a minute left on the clock, we are seeing Sharks perhaps staging for something over towards B. They do flash the apartments. They don't really take the forward angle point yet. Cello's still in position. Meanwhile, they try to come up middle. They get caught by Bolts, who multi-frags with the AK from window. Now they come limping out the apartments.
Definitely knows that JNT is up close now. It does Cello, but he needs to stay alive. Dies, does a bit of damage on his way out. 30 seconds. That Molotov will be good to keep the catwalk play at bay. Yell misses the shot, doesn't get punished, but it will afford the bomb plant to come into position now. And this is where Zevi, who keep in mind is in very good form so far, is now allowed the opportunity to spread his wings and potentially take off with this round. MIBR, in a 2 versus 4, have suddenly let this slip into just Yell. And just as we were talking about teams lacking that clinical blow, that knockout punch, again, MIBR stagger onto the ropes, hope for the best, and get KO'd themselves. Zevi stands tall for 27 frags.
That was such a big round from Zevi. You like Main Brazil's chances there when Bolts gets that double kill in middle. You feel like they are putting the final pieces together to solve the puzzle of extending into a lead rather than just being tied up. And instead, Zevi jumps out of the apartments, hits such a critical shot over towards the catwalk, and then helps clamp down in the post plant 2-on-2 as well. And now money is low for Main Brazil. They need to win this round, otherwise it's, you know what, Young Sharks on map and series point, and they won't have much money to spend to try to contest them. This really is kind of their last hope.
And the Sharks on the prowl, looking to erode this B defense. It's been such a successful hit time after time. Exit does come back with one. Where are the flashes? Where's the preemptive utility? Not required. Still get the upper hand in these trades. Yes, Luca is so close to death on 26 frags.
Gotta
but
save.
They boost up onto the bomb, and with that, MIBR go to save.
They have to. They have no choice. They have to give map and series point over to the Sharks. They do not have the money. If they would have lost these 3 weapons in an attempted retake, they would have basically had nothing going into what would have been likely the final round of this thing tonight. So this is smart. They'll be able to keep an M4 and op. Shiz, though, only keeping an MP9 is a little bit less than ideal. He'd love to find something else, but there's really nothing for him to find. The 2 weapons he would want are still sitting on the B site. The only thing he can hope for is maybe an exit on Sharks coming through the B apartments here, and JNT might just be that guy. Doesn't seem like he's gonna step forward though, so it seems like it'll just all settle out, and it will be 15-13 here for the Sharks. So despite a little bit of a pothole in the road, I guess you could say, on that A play that they lost, they fight back tooth and nail these last couple of rounds, Vince. And while we did talk about how Zevi's near 30, Luca's right there with him, Vince. He's at 26. He's only 1 behind.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there was 17 or 18 kills that Zevi got in that first half, so he was definitely the talisman, the power play, the linchpin But Luca, these last 5 or 6 rounds has really come alive.
Absolutely. He's had some big openings. And this could be it here. 3 MP9s have been put into play for Made in Brazil. It is definitely scrape at the bottom of the barrel just to get weaponry in this round to try to stop Sharks from securing the series. And again, a hefty advantage if these two teams were to meet again in the grand finals for Sharks. Again, with all the RMR points on the line and what these two teams think at the top of the rankings, you imagine that this really is kind of the biggest chapter of the story of this tournament. It's who wins this series. It's going to be one of these two teams, more than likely, that wind up making it to contenders.
The other game is so close as well. Goes to show the skill level neck and neck, but Cello tries to get through Connector, down to 2 HP. Doesn't get desperate though and try and escape, otherwise he would have died 100%. And although Exit comes up with 1, suddenly it's just back and forth, back and forth. This will favor the Sharks, though, because only Yell is stuck on the site by himself. I say that, but Bolt is actually up on the balcony, and Yell's already struck out. Maybe there is a way back in. Maybe this is winnable for MIBR. Bolt's up close with the MP9. If Zevi decides to push, he is surely a goner. This is looking so good for the CTs.
I would bet the house that they're not going to find Bolts.
There's so many angles that you want to cover before you even think of checking balcony, and indeed, they don't have the time to go for this. They've got to run in. JNT takes off the head, but there's strength in numbers. And MIBR stacked the correct site at the right time, and we go the distance again.
And the money is looking rough for Sharks, Vince. They do have decent money on 3 of their players, but 2 are lacking, particularly Real, who has to go out to Tech 9. So it's going to make things very difficult here for them. Mac 10 for Zevi. I mean, they're having to go with a lot of Mac 10s right now. They have 3 AKs and 2 Mac 10s at the end of it. Means they're going to have to just really hope that they can get some close-range duels to go their way. They're going to try to flash push into the B apartments. They're trying to leverage the best they can with these types of close-range weapons, but Bolt is up to the task of holding it.
Molly would have extended, so the smoke comes down, allows him to actually relocate. No one seems to know this, but he actually bites off more than he can chew. He assumed he got that first frag, wanted to pivot in for the second one, and in doing so, he's given his life away. It's a post-plant, and now those 2 Mac 10s have been dealt with, and now it's just AKs up. Shiz has lost his head. Zevi takes him down.
No
way!
Been
picked off as well. This round has suddenly just spiraled out of control, and Yell has to somehow try and clutch this one in a 1-on-3, position compromised. 3 AKs now will be looking in his direction. Eagle eyes. They have crossfires established. He's got a smoke and 2 flashes, but surely no hope. He's getting tagged from one side and finished off from the other. And Sharks are going to get it done. 16-14, 16-14.